You know, every time I try to stop talking about the Sindel retcon, I always find new reasons to carry on. And while I'll certainly discuss it if it remains the case in Mortal 1 Kombat, or if either of the film series use it, I hope these two will be the last time I have to discuss it in regards to MK11. I mean, Onslaught seems to have fixed it, so maybe there's hope. See, I was planning to just clear up a misconception regarding the motivations behind the retcon to close things out, only for that to lead to a resurgence of the age-old agency argument. I've debunked it before, but it looks like a dedicated, more in-depth video is required. So don't complain about me still talking about it all these years later, because you're the one still incorrectly applying this term to it. The Novelry.com describes agency thusly. Character agency in fiction is used to describe the ability a character has to take action to affect the event of the story. It's often used in a negative sense. Rejection letters refer to the lack of agency of the main character as the reason a literary agent passes on a submission. It's a popular term in modern literary criticism, especially in regards to female characters, I find. Essentially, it's the idea of a character having control of their own life and role in the narrative. Destiny, for example, removes a character's agency because it means their actions are predetermined. But mind control is the more pertinent example here. Twindel fans will use the term agency as a shallow buzzword to assert that the retcon of Sindel being evil and not mind controlled means she has more say in her own life and is therefore a better character. This assertion is objectively incorrect. Midway Sindel spends MK3 under mind control, spends deception in a neat role reversal where she's the one freeing Kitana from mind control, and then fights for the good side in Armageddon. So that's 1/3 of her total appearances spent without agency, and using the remaining 2/3 to redeem herself as a mother and a queen by fighting for her daughter and her realm. Good stuff. Netherrealm Twindel spends MK9 under mind control, MKX under mind control, and MK11 still corrupted for one chapter before being freed. But the Aftermath revelation means she was acting on her own initiative in the prior two games, right?
Wrong.
Aftermath also reveals that Twindel was actually killed by Quan Chi, both in story dialogue and intros.
After being forced to wed Shao Kahn, I ran afoul of Quan Chi. Then the miscreant murdered me. Quan Chi deceived you, you pathetic fool.
So when she's revived in MK9 by Quan Chi, why doesn't she attack him on sight? Because he's still using mind control on her to keep her from doing so, with or without the retcon? Or are we to just assume he sneak attacked her and she didn't find out it was him until sometime between her resurrection and Aftermath?
He accused me of distracting Shao Kahn.
So, all told, Twindel spends one game as a mind-controlled enforcer of Shao Kahn and a bit as one for Quan Chi, one full game as one for Quan Chi, and then a chapter still in this corrupted mindset like Liu Kang and the others before she finally regains her free will. That's a full 2/3 and it bleeds over a little into the last third. And that's me being generous and leaving out her appearance in the MK4 prequel comic Sans Mind Control, and the chapter she spends unconscious in Aftermath where she's still corrupted but unable to act on it. 1/3 versus 2/3 plus with no free will? So which one has more agency again? But maybe the mind control is just a part of it. Maybe it's the prior victim aspect of it being removed, as if a character rising above their victim status to become a hero is somehow a worse character than a generic, shallow villain who just wants power. Christ, Shao Kahn the dumb brute has more depth here because he at least cares about his fake daughter, and even practically praises Kitana when she stands up to him, versus Twindel who flip-flops in story and intros between loving Kahn and using him as a stepping stone to greater power, and between despising Kitana for turning good and still loving her. You know, Twindel sometimes says she doesn't care for Kahn, only power, but still takes umbrage with Kitana overthrowing Kahn and proving herself more powerful. Twindel has no consistent values or motivations here, while Sindel, once freed, remained consistent for the rest of the Midway games. But even if Twindel had a consistent motivation, what, may I ask, is the fucking point in her even having agency if all she's going to do with it is betray Edenia, like almost every other Edenian in the goddamn series? By making her a secret traitor, they made her exactly the same as Tanya and Rain. Even Melina technically counts, and we've even seen Jade and original Edenians do the same in the old movie canon, so Twindel has nothing unique going for her. I will take the woman who starts as a victim and then obtains redemption for her weakness to become a woman worthy of being called a queen both in-universe and out, over yet another traitorous Edenian who has no consistent views or motivations, nor interesting narrative potential. Twindel has less agency than Sindel, and all Twindel does with what little of it she has is rehash old ideas that were done better with more interesting characters 2 decades ago. Stop using fancy buzzwords to make yourself sound smart because you just sound like an idiot when you use them incorrectly. If you liked this video, then share it around with all the Twindel stands so I can stop talking about this finally, Jesus Christ. If not, then you're probably one of the people who were responsible for me making this video in the first place. fuck you. Today's recommended video is Shredcast episode 18, Smoke on the Water, Mortal Kombat 1 May Have Potential, featuring At the Fourth Snake by Shred Gaming. It was a fun discussion about the next game, and I did briefly mention the retcon there, so it is connected. There you go, that's more relevant cross-promotion than MK11 managed with the films.